Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. I'm down here at the water making a few casts with a spinnerbait, so I figured I'd do a spinnerbait retrieve video because I've gotten several requests for it. You know, a spinnerbait for me was a bait for years. All I did was straight retrieve it, and I caught a lot of fish. Spinnerbait's a great bait to catch fish, but you can double the number of bites you get if you increase the movement in your spinnerbait. This was something my buddy Luke Clausen showed me. We were out fishing and the whole time he retrieves it like this. He's always got his rod tip pumping the bait, and he's basically picking up the slack line as he's doing it with his reel. So what that's doing on every cast is it's flaring those blades. Those blades are stopping and they're flaring, and it's creating different flash, and it's just breaking up the monotony of a straight retrieve on the spinnerbait. So a spinnerbait looks like a whole school of bait fish, but every time you pump it, that creates flare in the skirt, and the blades stop and the blades go, which create a lot of potential for a reaction strike from fish. And I've seen it firsthand with him. You know, I've been out in the boat and he kicked my butt doing that, and that's the only way now I retrieve a spinnerbait if I were fishing it in a situation where I just would be straight retrieving it. So if it's higher up in the water column, or maybe I'm going down riprap bank, something along those lines where there's nothing to create any contact. So that's definitely the #1 retrieve I would recommend for you. It's just simple, guys. It takes a little bit of learning because you don't think about it while you're doing it, but you're literally just giving that little bit of a pulse in the rod while you're retrieving it, and the blades are just flaring and going the whole way. So that's the first and most important retrieve. I can assure you, if you do that alone, that will generate double the number of bites that you normally get. The second retrieve that I like to do with a spinnerbait is a little bit more unconventional and unknown. I like to fish it with my rod tip up, and I like to come up and I like to get my bait to slap the surface like that. You can see how it comes up, it'll wake it out there, and the blades come up and slap it. And what this is really good for is those situations where the fish are higher up in the water column. If the shad are higher up or the fish are feeding on the surface, it creates that appearance of a shad or a bait fish trying to get away. So you got your bait right under the surface, and you want your blades a couple of times to come up and just slap. It literally blows out on the surface. And that creates that same appearance as a shad trying to skitter out of the way. I do this anytime the fish are up higher in the water column. If you're catching them on a wake bait, this is a great presentation to do. It's also really good over the tops of grass beds. If you have really big grass beds that are just solid grass and you can retrieve a bait above it, it's a great way to retrieve a spinnerbait. All you do, you start your retrieve as it hits the water, keep your rod tip pointed to the sky till it blows out once. Then you let it, regain its propeller movement, and it blow it out again. Just a simple thing to do. You get it to come up and break the surface multiple times through the cast. It looks like a bait fish getting away. It's changing the blade rotation, and it's giving the fish a good opportunity to attack at certain points. Every time that blade blows out, that's a good time that the fish will attack the bait, and you'll be surprised how many good blowups I've had on a spinnerbait. So that's the second way I like to retrieve it. The third is I actually like to use it more as a crankbait. I let it go down to the bottom, and then I'm just slowly reeling it, letting it bang off the rocks. And every time it bangs off the rocks, I'll give it a quick little pop and just, reel it back like that. It's just ticking the bottom the whole way. You're fishing a spinnerbait essentially is a crankbait. And what's so key about that is if the fish are tight to the bottom and not willing to come up, you're now putting that bait fish imitating bait in their faces. They don't have to come up now. Now you're banging off those rocks, and I just had a bite there. Now I'm banging off those rocks because I'm in the fish's home, and I can create the reaction strike as that bait deflects off the rocks. Really good way to generate strikes. It works as a deep ledge bait in the same manner. If you've got some stumps or brush piles found, if you can deflect off the brush or those stump piles in the same manner, it's a great way to generate additional strikes. And it's something you don't ever see people doing, is slow reeling a spinnerbait so that it's consistently making contact with the bottom. This is a really good thing to do too if you've got the springtime, if you've got a shad spawn going on, when the shad are all just deflecting off rocks everywhere. Really good way to fish it. In that manner, you're fishing it a little shallower, but it's still going to generate all of those extra bites for you. These retrieves have literally made a spinnerbait one of my #1 fish catching tools for me. I can't tell you how good a spinnerbait is at generating numbers of bites as well as catching some of the biggest fish in the lake, because those big fish don't want to eat one shad, they want to eat a school of shad at one time. And that's what this looks like. It looks like 3 bait fish. So guys, give it a try. Grab your spinnerbaits, don't straight retrieve. I want to see you imparting some pulling into it. I want to see you slapping the surface with it, and I want to see you slow rolling it, deflecting off things on the bottom. Give those a try, you'll double your bites. I absolutely 100% believe that. So guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video.